Lakewood Ranch is not usually the cheapest place to buy a home in this part of Florida. You can often get more house for the money in Parrish, Bradenton, North River Ranch, Venice, Welland Park, and other nearby areas. So the real question is not, is Lakewood Ranch expensive? In many cases, yes it is. The better question is Lakewood Ranch still worth the premium in 2026? That's where we're breaking this down today. I'm George Latos with Sarasota Realty here in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. I live here, I work here, and I help buyers understand the real cost of moving to Sarasota and Manatee County. Before we get started, subscribe to the channel, because when you're buying in Florida, the price of a home is only part of the decision. The lifestyle, the location, the fees, and the convenience, and the long-term value all matter. Let's start with the honest part. Lakewood Ranch often costs more. You pay more for the home. You will pay HOA fees. In many communities, you may have CDD fees. You still have to factor in property taxes, insurance, maintenance, utilities, and the real monthly cost of ownership. So if your only goal is the biggest house for the lowest price, Lakewood Ranch may not always be your best option. There are areas where you can get more square footage for less money. But that's not why most people choose Lakewood Ranch. People choose Lakewood Ranch because the lifestyle, the planning, the convenience, and most importantly, the access. And that's where the premium really starts to make more sense. One of the biggest advantages of Lakewood Ranch is its location. You're close to University Town Center area, better known as UTC. And UTC is not just a mall. The broader UTC area has become one of the major retail dining and entertainment hubs in the Sarasota-Bradenton region. Around the four corners of University Parkway and I-75, you have hundreds of stores, restaurants, major national brands, local businesses, big box retail, entertainment, and almost every major retail category represented. For many people living in Lakewood Ranch, UTC is a short drive. But for some other communities farther away, depending on traffic and location, getting to UTC can become a 45-minute to an hour trip. That matters because convenience becomes a part of your daily life. You're not just buying a home, you're buying access to shopping, restaurants, groceries, medical care, fitness, entertainment services, and everyday conveniences of not having to drive an hour for everything. And it's not just UTC. Lakewood Ranch has its own lifestyle centers. You have Main Street, Lakewood Ranch, with restaurants, shops, movies, events, and that traditional town center feel. You also have Waterside Place, which has become one of the most popular areas in Lakewood Ranch, with waterfront dining, music, events, restaurants, walking areas, apartments, and a more modern town home atmosphere. That is a major part of the lifestyle premium. When people compare Lakewood Ranch to other areas, they often compare only the house. But daily life is not about the house. It's where you go to dinner, where you go to meet friends, where your family visits, where you shop, where you go on a Friday night, where you can go grab a coffee, a walk, go to an event, or meet people without making a major drive. That's one of the reasons Lakewood Ranch continues to attract buyers. The restaurant scene is also a big part of this. We have hundreds of local restaurants throughout Lakewood Ranch, UTC, Sarasota, and Bradenton. You also have access to some of the best national brands. For higher-end dining, you have options like Ruth Chris, Fleming's, Seasons 52, Capitol Grill, Brio, and other well-known restaurants in and around the UTC area. For casual dining, you have places like Cheesecake Factory, Bonefish, Carrabba's, and plenty of local favorites. Then when you factor in Sarasota, Bradenton, Waterside Place, Main Street, and the Gulf Coast, you have some of the best seafood and casual dining options in all of Florida. That's a lifestyle advantage because when you live here, you're not stuck with one or two choices. You have casual restaurants, fine dining, national brands, local spots, seafood, waterfront, dining, neighborhood places, and restaurants where you can take friends and family when they visit. And you have Sarasota's food scene just a short drive away. Lakewood Ranch also has daily conveniences that people care about once they actually live here. You have a Trader Joe's nearby, Costco nearby, UTC, grocery stores, fitness, medical offices, restaurants, coffee shops, and service businesses all close by. And that may not sound exciting when you're looking at homes online, But after you move here, those things matter, and they make daily life easier. Another major addition to the area is the new Mote Science Education Aquarium near UTC at Benderson Park. That's another example of how the area around Lakewood Ranch continues to grow and attract regional amenities. So when people ask why Lakewood Ranch costs more, you have to look at what surrounds it. You have UTC, Main Street, Waterside Place, Nathan Benderson Park, the Mote, Costco, Trader Joe's, restaurants, shopping, medical care, sports, downtown Sarasota, beaches, and still open space nearby. That combination is very, very hard to duplicate. Now let's talk about airport and beach access. Lakewood Ranch is roughly 30 minutes from Sarasota Bradenton International Airport, depending on where you live in the ranch and traffic. And that's a big deal for relocating buyers, retirees, part-time residents, business travelers, and anyone with family flying in and out. You're also about 35 minutes to the beach, depending on traffic and which beach you're going to. So no, Lakewood Ranch is not a beach community, but for many buyers, that's actually part of the appeal. You're close enough to enjoy the Gulf Coast lifestyle, but you're not living directly on the coast, dealing with the same flood zone concerns, coastal insurance concerns, beach traffic, and waterfront pricing. For a lot of people, Lakewood Ranch offers the middle ground, inland convenience, master plan living, access to the beach when you want it, and a more organized day-to-day lifestyle. Healthcare is another major reason people choose this area, especially retirees and 55-plus buyers. From Lakewood Ranch, you have access to several major hospitals and healthcare systems. Lakewood Ranch Medical Center is right in the ranch. Doctors Hospital is nearby, and Sarasota Memorial Hospital System is in this region, and Manatee Memorial is nearby in Bradenton. And that matters for specialists, emergencies, follow-up care, family, and anyone thinking about where they want to live for the next 10, 15, or 20 years. Healthcare access may not be the most exciting part of buying a home, but it becomes very important when you're choosing where to live long-term. Lakewood Ranch also has the premier sports campus, which is a major part of the community's identity. It's not just a small neighborhood park. Premier Sports Campus brings together youth sports, soccer tournaments, events, visitors, and energy into the area. And there's also been a major investment plan around the sports campus, including roughly $40 million in improvements and expansion into the project. That tells you something important about Lakewood Ranch. It's not just building homes, it's continuing to invest in lifestyle, recreation, sports, events, and long-term community infrastructure. For families, athletes, and sports-minded buyers, that's a real asset. For the broader community, it adds energy and long-term value. Now, one of the things that makes Lakewood Ranch especially interesting is how close it is to downtown Sarasota. You can live in a clean, organized, master-planned community and still be a short drive from one of the best cultural centers on Florida's Gulf Coast. We have the Van Wezel, the Sarasota Opera House, the Florida Studio Theater, the Ringley Museum, art, theater, music, restaurants, culture, and the waterfront. That's a very powerful combination. You get the structure and convenience of Lakewood Ranch, but you still have access to downtown Sarasota arts, dining, entertainment, and cultural scene. And at the same time, you're not boxed in by a city living. Drive east or north from parts of Lakewood Ranch, and you can still get to open land, country roads, ranches, farms, and a completely different side of Florida. That balance is one of the things buyers sometimes miss. Lakewood Ranch gives you access in multiple directions. Go west and you have UTC, the Sarasota Airport, the beaches, and culture. Go east or north, and you can still find open spaces, quieter roads, and a more country feel. That's part of what makes this location unique. Now, Lakewood Ranch is not a one-size-fits-all, and that's very important. A buyer looking at Waterside may want the energy of being near Waterside Place, restaurants, events, and a more walkable lifestyle. A buyer looking at the Lake Club may want luxury, privacy, and a higher-end gated community. A buyer looking at Crestwind or Del Webb may be focused on 55-plus living, clubs, amenities, and more social connections. A buyer looking at the Isles may want a newer gated community with resort-style amenities and a strong location inside the ranch. A buyer looking farther east may want newer construction, more space, or a quieter setting. So when someone asks, is Lakewood Ranch worth the premium? The answer is, it depends on what part of Lakewood Ranch we're talking about. Some communities have higher fees and stronger amenities. Some have CDDs. Some are closer to UTC, Main Street, Waterside, and Sarasota. Some are quieter and farther east. Some are better for retirees, families, luxury buyers, or people who want that lock and leave lifestyle. That's why comparing Lakewood Ranch only by price per square foot can be very misleading. A cheaper home may not be cheaper if it does not fit your lifestyle, and a more expensive home may make sense if it gives you the location, convenience, amenities, and long-term lifestyle you actually want. Now let's be fair. Lakewood Ranch is not for everyone. If you want acreage, it may not be the best fit. If you want no HOA, it may not be the best fit. If you want the lowest payment possible, there may be better options outside Lakewood Ranch. If you want to be directly on the beach, Lakewood Ranch is not a beach community. And if you're stretching your budget just to be here, you need to be careful. Premium only makes sense if you can actually value what you're paying for. So if you're going to use the amenities, enjoy the restaurants, walk the trails, attend the events, shop UTC, go to Main Street, visit Waterside, use the healthcare access, use the airport, visit the beaches, enjoy downtown Sarasota, and take advantage of the lifestyle, then Lakewood Ranch may be absolutely worth it. But if you're only looking at square footage and monthly payment, you may want to compare other areas carefully. So is Lakewood Ranch still worth the premium in 2026? For the right buyer, yes. Not because it's the cheapest, it is not, but because you're buying more than a house. You're buying a location, access, planning, convenience, healthcare, shopping, restaurants, sports, culture, airport, access, beach proximity, and open space nearby, and long-term growth. That's the real value proposition. For some buyers, that premium makes a lot of sense. For others, it does not, and that's okay. The goal is not to convince everyone to move to Lakewood Ranch. The goal is to figure out, is Lakewood Ranch the right fit for you? So when people ask, why does Lakewood Ranch cost more? The answer is not just the home. It's the access to Main Street, Waterside, UTC, Costco, Trader Joe's, local restaurants, national brands, the sports campus, downtown Sarasota, the airport, beaches, and the open space and country roads and the quieter side of Florida. That's a combination that's not easy to duplicate. I'm George Latos with Zackos Realty here in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. I live here, I work here, and I help buyers compare the villages, the builders, the communities, the fees, and the surrounding areas so they can make the right move. If you're thinking about moving to Lakewood Ranch, Sarasota, or Manatee County, reach out to me before you make a decision. I'll help you compare the real numbers and the real lifestyle, not just the listing price. And if this video helped, subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep breaking down what it really costs to live, buy, retire, and invest here in Lakewood Ranch and the surrounding Florida communities. Because when you're buying in Florida, the right home matters, but the right lifestyle is what makes it work.